Welcome to my classroom. In this chemical process calculations course, we are into this model 1 where in this lecture number 2 we will discuss about introduction to chemical process calculations. In previous lecture number 1, I have explained you what is chemical engineering, what is the role and responsibilities of a chemical engineer. I hope you have watched that video, and I have told you what are the textbooks that I will be using in this course. So mainly we'll be using this Haugen, Button-Ora, Kevin Narayanan, Himal. Okay, so coming to this chemical process calculations course, why we should know these chemical process calculations? Why we should do some material balance and energy balance? Okay, remember we are working in an industry or chemical industry. There are diverse range of product which we will be handling. Either it is the extraction of the ore or combustion of the coal or production of any fuel, or like in petrochemical industry we are processing the crude oil and in a distillation column, and we withdraw several products across the column, right? So we may be withdrawing several fuels, or it may be a fertilizer industry, or it may be a food processing industry, or a life-saving pharmaceutical industry, or we may be working on a chemical filtering the water or drinking water or wastewater treatment plants. And in though most of them we are using them in our daily life also, right? So all of these industries involve several stages, and there are processes which happen during the production of all these things. And we should know the different materials or chemicals are either added into the system, or if it is formed, we are removing it from the system. In each step, and in removing or separating involves a cost. Okay, so there is energy also can be evolved. Sometimes heat may be absorbed. For example, endothermic reaction and exothermic reactions are there. Heat may be absorbed by the system, heat may be liberated from the system, and apart from it, if there is phase change is taking place, we may have to vaporize the liquid into vapor, or we may have to condense a vapor into a liquid. So in all these things, energy is consumed, right? So we should know how much energy we need to supply to the system. So for that, at least we should know what is the amount of material that is being processed. Okay, so although the range of subjects deemed to be in this province of chemical engineering has broadened over these decades, the basic principles involved in this chemical engineering remain the same. That is the way we approach it. So once we have the skill set, so for example, a cricket player, we want to become a player, what to do? First, you should know what is batting, what is fielding, what is bowling, right? What is wicket keeping, right? All the rules of the game. So once you know that, it is easy for you to adapt from test cricket. Then there was a broadening game, a one-day match game, right? So then T20 game, then Super 7 game, Super 7 overs game, right? So for a batsman can adapt, or we can serve as a survival of the fittest also. We learn to adjust ourselves to different scenario, but the basic principle or the techniques should be strong, right? So basically, if the technique is correct, we will be able to adjust ourselves to various changes also. So as a chemical engineer, we should have a thorough understanding of how much of different materials are required in a liquid form, solid form, or vapor form, or it may be a catalyst, right? How much catalyst is required for a given system, because each material, not every material is cheaply available or freely available. Even if it is freely available somewhere 500 kilometers away, there is a cost involved in transporting that freely available resource to the industry, right? So then also some cost is involved. So that way we should not keep on transporting large amount of material where you need something in kg. You should not buy them in tons and store it and waste energy in storing it at a particular temperature, right? So that way it is important as a chemical engineer, we should know how much raw material we need for operating a plant for one day. It's like how our mother plans for our monthly expenses, right? You cannot buy some 100 packets of noodles and keep it for a week, right? So how much you use, how much we are consuming, rice bag, how much we need, even if it is for 1 year, how many bags we need. We cannot dump all these requirement, all these grocery items into our bedroom, right? So we should know how much we need per week, per month, per year, and which needs to be bought together, which needs to be bought in isolation, or which needs to be bought daily basis, right? So like that we have to identify them, and we should know what is required at when it is required, like that, right? So that is the reason, similar to, that's why our mother or whoever parent is cooking or planning all these grocery items or vegetables, fruits, right? Everything also involves some planning. Same way in a chemical industry also, we have to plan how much raw material is processed, what is being produced, how to isolate, what is the demand for that byproduct which is I am producing, why I have to dump it, can I reach, change its shape or change its face, or mix it with something else, and can I market it as a new product or innovative product into the society. So that way we have to think. Okay, so that way we should be thorough knowledge of how much material or how much product is formed, how much byproducts is formed, all needs to be known. So that way this course coming into picture. Taking a course in this chemical process calculation will help as a chemical engineer to gain such an understanding. It's like you are in this third semester in your engineering course, or some of the engineering colleges have given this in first year, second semester itself, right? So that way we are slowly, after completing our basic courses like physics, chemistry, workshop in electrical and electronic courses, we are slowly getting into know what is a chemical engineer, what we are going to do as a chemical engineer in the future, and how we are useful to the society. All that we are trying to learn, right? So that way this course, particularly chemical process calculation, will help as an engineer to gain such a knowledge, where we will come to know what quantum of material is being processed, how much raw material is required, how much energy is required, even as I said, what kind of pump we have to keep for a given operation to pump a liquid from one place to another place in a chemical industry. All that we will be doing. So this course provides a simple treatment as a elementary basic treatment to this course of the subject matter, and the fundamental principles are explained through several worked examples. It's actually a numerical course, so we should always use calculator, pen, paper, and we should start solving it, right? It's not theory that you read the story and listen to story and you can clear the exam or know everything. So practice makes one perfect. So that way this course needs your serious commitment. You always make notes, so you take lecture wise, you learn. And if you have any doubts, you can always email me. Email ID is given at the end of this lecture. Okay, so you can always come in contact with me, or even you can comment. I will able to respond to it. Okay, so this course is going to be the foundation of certain information and skill sets that will help a chemical engineer, which we will be making use in the subsequent courses that we are going to learn in our future course semesters also, like third semester, fourth semester. We are going to learn fluid mechanics, you are going to learn heat transfer, mass transfer, chemical reaction engineering 1, chemical reaction engineering 2, process intensification, design, equipment design, engineering economics. Okay, so also in your professional life or even your daily life basis also, we are going to make use of this, what we are going to learn, that is material balance and energy balance with and without chemical reactions. Okay, to start with, what is system of units? Because every place the unit is different, right? Because we have different way to measure something. Even land, in our place they say per square feet. Here in our Warangal, Telangana and all, people used to say yards, right? So that way different places we refer with different units, with a different mother tongue. We have several units to represent the land areas. Okay, so in your mother tongue you will have something, in my mother tongue I will have something, right? It is different units are there, people able to correlate them, right? So there is always a different system of units which are being followed in different regions within a country, or from a country to another country. Okay, so that way we want to have a common unit system, so that a common agreement is there. Okay, I will also mention these particular dimensions with the unit, you also mention in the same unit. So that way we want to have a system of units. Okay, also as a chemical engineer we need to have numbers as well as that unit systems, because we want to know that number should be more accurate. Because if we are slightly careless in our numerical value, that whatever we are doing are units, the safety of the public and the society is at stake. Okay, we cannot design a pump piping system whose diameter is d and whose length is l, and US engineers have persisted too long in clinging to British system of units. Okay, there is too much of margin of error in most of the British system of units, and many an engineering student has flunked the test because of missing an improper conversion factors of 12, 144 or 32.2 or 60 or 1.8. So as a practicing engineer, always we tend to make some errors also. So that way we should try to follow a system of unit, okay, standard system of unit. Okay. Say for example, a series of preliminary error in the design of an aircraft was due to missing factor of 32.2 because the person forgot to convert the pounds of mass to slugs. Okay. So in this model number 1, we will see introduction to process calculation, which we have been discussing. So we will start with units and dimensions, conversion of unit from one unit system to another unit system, process and process variables, process flow sheet, process unit and process streams, what is density, specific gravity scales, mass and volumetric flow rate, what is mole concept, molecular and equivalent weights. Okay, so then we will see the composition of streams, other expressions for concentrations will be discussed in this model number 1. So the learning objectives of this lecture is we want to convert between one system of units to another system of units using dimensional equations. We should be able to add, subtract, multiply or divide the units, use SI or American Engineering or CGS unit systems. We should understand the what is dimensional homogeneity. Okay, to start with, will you comment these values, whatever question is asked? Will you comment what is your height? How long does it take you to move from a hostel to your department every day? How heavy you are? What is the distance from the earth to the moon? What is the average weight of a newborn baby? What's our normal body temperature, human body temperature? Okay, so if you write them, you will understand that we are mentioning, some people will answer it in like I am 167, I am 5, I am 160. What is that 5 or 160 means without units? Because it is in feet, it is in centimeters, right? So how long it takes? I can say 5 minutes, I can say 0.01 hours. Okay, different units also use. So if you simply say 5.01, okay, so it does have no meaning, right? Simply 5 or 160 also does not have meaning unless you add the unit. That is the objective why I ask you to do this activity. How heavy you are? Some people will say I am 80, I am 85, I am 45, I am 50 kg Taj Mahal. Okay, so that way without unit also it has no meaning. So that way it is important that whatever value, numerical value that we are saying, it should be combined with a unit. Okay, so you can try to write these general knowledge questions. What is the distance from the earth to moon? What is the average weight of the newborn baby? What is normal body temperature? Okay, for example, how we are measuring the time in different units. You remember, if you look at the Mangalyaan, it took around 10 months to travel. Okay, so and if you look at the different sports, different time units are important. Okay, so if, for example, if you consider the swimming, every millisecond is important because the winner wins the other person with the milliseconds. Okay, here you know from Usain Bolt that every minute is important. Okay, so that way we can express the time in milliseconds, in minutes, or even it can be expressed in terms of month also, because that much time it takes, right? It takes 10 months to complete the mammoth journey of more than 700 million kilometers. Okay, so that way time can be expressed in different units. And similarly, how lengths are measured in different units, as an engineer we know that, you know how different units we can measure. So actually the length between the sun and the earth is measured in the units of 1 AU. Okay, so and we have nanometer ranges, so you can see 100 nanometer is this much length is 100 nanometer. Okay, so this much length is 2 nanometers, so this is around 4 nanometers length. So that way for nanomaterials it is, we have to identify this much length is 10 nanometer. So you can say this is a 10 nanometer thing. Okay, so that way we different units are there to express the length also. And what is that 1 AU? 1 AU is around this much kilometers. You can see that one. So 1 AU is 1.5 into 10 power 8 kilometers. 1 nautical mile is 1.852 kilometers. And different units are there: kilometer, meter, centimeters, millimeter, micrometer, nanometers. Then we have different unit system like miles, yards, foot, inch, nautical mile. Okay, and we can prefix or suffix on the unit with the things. Unit into 10 power 24 iota. If it is 10 power unit divided by, that is into 10 power minus 9, it is nanometers. Into 10 power minus 6, it is micrometers. Okay, 10 power minus 3, it is millimeter. 1, it is meters. 10 power 3, kilometers. So all that we know. Okay, so that is the unit of length. See, as a chemical engineer, we are going to use different units because every matter, either it may be present in the form of pure substance or mixture form. Either we may be separating the pure substance from a mixture, or we may be combining the pure substances to make a mixture. Okay. And coming to this SI system, they are called as a metric system, which is used around the world. There are around 7 basic units in this SI unit system. All this you have studied in school. I just quickly go through it. Okay, so the meters is unit of length. Kilogram is the unit of mass. Second is the SI unit of time. Okay, so if you say that length, mass and time, if unit is expressed in meter, kg and second, so this is our SI unit system. Other than that, you have Kelvin, temperature in Kelvin, current in ampere, moles in mole, candela are the units for light. Okay, so that way SI unit system is there. So now we will see what are the other different unit system that are available. And to start with, dimensions and unit. What is a unit? A unit is an arbitrarily selected standard of measure for a physical quantity. Any physical quantity that can be measured or counted is always expressed as a product of its numerical value and the units thereof. That's why I told you. So if you want to tell me your weight, I asked you to write what is your weight. You said I am a 50 kg. You said I am 160. I am 160 centimeters high. Okay, so that way my fever is 105 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, so that way we can express the things always with the units. That thing we should know why unit is important. Okay, so many people confused with these dimensions and the units, even though the solution to all the engineering problem must include unit. That's why I told you, any numerical you solve hereafter, whatever course you are going to do, fluid mechanics, heat transfer, mass transfer, engineering economics, CRE, everywhere, whenever you are writing the final answer in the value, it should be associated with the corresponding unit, in which unit you have found. Okay, because the person correcting your thing, answer may be, you may be correct. I may be having 100 meters as the answer. So with the key, I will be correcting, looking for answer which is 100 meters. But if you express it in feet, you may be correct, value may be correct, but you didn't write the unit. So it is very difficult to correct. That's why any solution, whenever we are writing any answers or the values, solution to any engineering problem must have the unit associated with it. In whatever unit you are doing, try to finally at least convert to SI unit and report it in SI units. Okay. So what is the dimensions? Dimensions are the physical quantities that can be measured. So for example, I have a length, I have a breadth, I have a volume. Okay, so these are all dimensions. What is the breadth? 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meters. So they are units. So dimension is different, unit is different. We should not get confused with that. Okay, all units for the same dimensions are related to each other through a conversion factor. As I said, these are the units, 2 units for length. Okay, so all the units for the length is correlated using a conversion factor. That's why we are going to learn first about conversion factors, and we should be by hearted. We should know the what is the conversion factor to convert it from meter to feet, okay, from kg to pounds, or from Kelvin to degree Celsius. So how we will be doing that? Okay, so that conversion factor is used. So that way first we should be going through all the conversion factor tables, and we should able to by heart it. Okay, so to start with, there are some different type of units are also there, right? So basic unit is there, derived unit is there, multiple units are there, right? So different unit system also coming into picture. But if, for example, if you are looking into fluid mechanics course, we generally pick 3 units. Okay, one is mass, length, time, temperature will be the basic dimension, because we will be doing that dimensional analysis. Okay, that we'll use Buckingham pi theorem method. We will derive the pi groups, what is called as dimensionless groups. Okay, so in all that we will be taking the fundamental units. Okay, length, mass, time. Okay, so will be the basic units, fundamental units. So we should able to generally pick them only in our courses also. Okay, so that way this makes the force a function of length, mass and time, because force is equal to mass multiplied by length all divided by time square. Others define the force as one of their base dimensions and define mass by dividing the force by gravitational force, acceleration also. So this is one of the major difference between the standard English unit system and our metric unit system. So those who choose to use this metric unit system must make use of the units of kilogram, meter and second to define the Newton. Because Newton is the unit of force, right? Force 1 Newton we have to define accordingly. We should use, if you are dividing in Newton, it is in SI unit. So you have to make use of kg, meter and second to define this Newton. Okay. Similarly, if we are using the English units, we have to use the pound, foot and second to define the slug. Thus, Newton relevant unit in English system is slug. Okay. So that then only this system of international units came into picture. So that is the first international standard of units. The English units followed later and are currently defined from the standard SI units only. So to define the 7 base units, SI system which has been studying, we are studying this from our school days onwards. We know how the length is defined is what is 1 meter. Okay, what is the standard unit of mass, which is kilogram, how kilogram is measured. A kilogram is defined by the mass of a platinum iridium cylinder that is housed at the International Bureau of Weights and Measures, which is located in Paris, France. Okay, so this mass of 1 gram was originally defined as the mass of 1 centimeter cube of water at 4 degrees Celsius, making a kilogram the mass of 1 liter of water. However, the first prototype kilogram mass, which is what is currently in use today, has the mass of 1.000025 liters of water. Now we are taking it to be 1 gram mass to be 1 liter of water. Okay. Yes, 1 gram per cc are coming into picture. Okay, the basic unit for temperature is Kelvin. The Kelvin scale is defined as an absolute, defined from the absolute zero, where no heat remains in an atom, and the triple point of water. Okay, from these 4 base units, most of the parameters used in the fluid mechanics course or in our other courses also can be derived. Okay, there are other units like moles, amperes and luminous intensity, which we may not be requiring in our course, but still that mole is important in chemical reaction engineering courses. Okay, so okay, and we are going to discuss about mole concept and Avogadro number in detail later. Okay, so main thing we should know is when we are converting between 2 unit system, it is imperative to make sure that you are tracking the unit that we are converting, and we have to make sure that the proper conversion factor is utilized, and we have to see that the quantities are being converted properly also. Okay, for example, if you are converting area, which is the length squared quantity, you must multiply by the conversion factor twice, because for length, one conversion factor, another length, another conversion factor. That way, when you are converting, we have to use that conversion factor maybe 2 times. Okay. Also, if there is an addition or subtraction within our equation, we may also need to make sure that the units are the same prior to addition or subtraction, because we cannot add 100 centimeters, we cannot make it 100 meters plus 100 centimeters plus 100 mm as a 300 some other random unit, right? So that is not the way. So we have to convert all this into same meters or all of them into mm. So all should be in same unit, either in meters or in centimeters or mm. We have to bring them to the same platform. Then we have to make the addition or subtraction or division, whatever. Okay, so that is also important thing we should be noting down. Also, we need to convert to, so for example, see, remember we are explaining all this in detail because these are all trivial. It may be looking trivial, but if you make small error here, it may result in big errors in the final calculations. Okay, so if you look at the dimensions, dimensions are the properties that can be measured. Four basic dimensions are length, mass, time, and temperature. What is unit? Units are specific magnitudes of this dimension. As I said, 10 meter length is the dimension, 10 meters is the unit. Okay, and 10 is the numeric value. So the different units can measure the same dimensions in different units. As I said, length can be measured in terms of foot, meter, yard, mile, etc. So all of them are correlated by using a conversion factor, as I have explained. So you can always use the conversion factor. Please look into it. So we have 1 pound mass equal to 0.4535 kilograms. 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2 pounds. Okay, so that way reverse also we should able to do it. So there are three unit systems. We should know them as SI unit system or British engineering system or CGS unit system. You can see that here. So the units are different. Mass, the unit of mass, if you are SI unit, it is kg. In CGS unit, it is gram. That's why it is gram here. And in American unit, it is going to be pound. And unit of length in SI unit is meter. In CGS unit, it is centimeter, as the name indicates, and in American unit it is feet. And unit of time is second in all the three unit system. Unit of temperature is Kelvin in CGS and SI units. American units we are representing it Fahrenheit. Okay, so that way as a table you should know that FPS system, CGS system and MK system are three type of system where the length is denoted with referred with foot, centimeters or meters. In mass is referred to as pound, gram and kilogram. Time is referred to as seconds. Okay, so as I said earlier also, these units can be either base units, derived units or multiple units. Base units are the fundamental units such as length, mass, time, etc. Whereas the derived unit is multiplying or dividing these base units. We will be getting that. For example, velocity is meter per second, area is centimeter square, volume centimeter cube. So that is length into length, length into length into length, length by time. Like that we are getting different derived units. What is multiple units? These are the units which are multiple or fractions of base units. Okay, so by taking the fractions or by multiples, we will be getting different units, which is called as multiple units. And these dimensions, as I said, primary base units, primary units, whatever different name, different textbook use, but we will look at them one after another. So primary dimensions and units, there are around 7 primary dimensions, which are also called as basic dimension. However, the first 4 are important to our chemical engineering analysis. Okay. So now you know the unit, all this thing which is discussed already. So these tables always you can refer for ready reference. Mass in British thermal units, which is referred to as slug, lbm, pound mass. Okay, it is like lbm, refer to mass. If you write lbf, it is force, pound force. These are some of the examples for secondary units. As I told, I am giving you the ready-made table to refer. Computer, you can say 1 Newton equal to kg into meter per second square, m into g. If I say F equal to m into g, unit of mass is kg, unit of gravitational force is mass per meter per second square. So these are some of the derived units. Same way 1 dyne is used, 1 pound force is defined, 1 Pascal is defined. Okay. So some of them are called as coherent derived units. Some of them are called as non-coherent derived units. So if you compare, if I ask you to make a table of, write the units of density, velocity, acceleration, volumetric flow rate, mass flow rate and concentration in CGS system, SI unit system and American system, you should be able to fill up this table. Okay. So now coming to these conversion factors. Conversion factors are dimensionless quantities which enables the conversion between one unit system to another unit system, and these conversion factors do not change the magnitude, they just change the value of the units. Okay, because point is we have something of this height, the height is same, only in terms of unit it may be in meters or it may be in feet, it is only changing the value of the unit. Okay, that way we are changing, conversion factor is coming into picture, but actual height is the same. Okay, so these are some of the unit conversions we should go through and get thorough with. So 1 kg equal to 1000 grams, 0.001 metric ton, 2.24 pounds. Length is 1 meter equal to 100 centimeter equal to 10 power minus 9 nanometers, 10 power minus 10 Armstrongs. Okay. Volume, you can say 1000 liters, all that thing you can go through it. So these are the conversion factors for the length, we should go through it. And there are mass also, milligrams to tons, we have to measure several things. So unit is there, and similarly if you come to these volume conversions, you know that small 1 ml bottle is there 1000 times. If you fill this out, this is a way to remember the conversion factor. Okay, many people confuse it with 10 power plus 3 or minus 3. You remember 1 liter bottle. Okay, if you have to fill this bottle with this small cup, 1 ml cup, how many times you have to add the water to it? 1000 times you have to add. Similarly, you consider 1 meter cube of tank, water tank, you have to fill this with this 1 liter bottle, how many times you have to fill? 1000 times you have to fill. Okay, so that way you can remember the conversion factor for volume also. Okay, so the other important unit conversion factors are there, please go through it, write it, practice it 10 times, 15 times, you write these conversion factors and try to remember them. So these are the conversion factor for velocity conversions, and this is for power conversions, you know what, how it is converted to joule per second and BTU per hour. So this we will be making use of it more widely. 1 kilowatt is equal to 1.34 horsepower. Okay, this 1 horsepower equal to 745 watts, 0.746 watts, this also will be making use. Okay, so these are some power conversion factors. Similarly, we have conversion factor for energy. So how much 1 joule is equal to how much calorie, 1 calorie equal to how much joules. So these conversion factors are important. Similarly, pressure, as in fluid mechanics also will be using of these pressure values in different unit system, we should know that. Similarly, viscosity comes in picture for fluid mechanics. So we should be able to convert how centipoise is converted to Pascal second, all that. And what is kinematic viscosity, what is stroke, all that we should know. This mass flow rate kg per second, how it can be converted to other units. Heat transfer unit coefficients also there, how we can convert them, what is the conversion factor. Thermal conductivity conversion factors, temperature conversion factors are there. So all these things you have to go through it and you have to practice them and try to remember that as much as possible. Okay. Next lecture onwards, first thing is I request you to practice all these conversion factors for different unit system, for a length, mass, power, energy, temperature, all the conversion factor from one system to another system should be practiced. So from lecture number 3 onwards, we will be solving some numericals. We have to practice them. Only practice makes us perfect. Okay. So from next class onwards, I request you to prepare a notes, separate notebook in which you will be writing all these numerical question and answer step by step, showing the unit tally, how the answer is obtained, what is the final unit, what is our comment on it, all that needs to be written. So be ready with the notebook from next lecture onwards. Thank you so much for joining my classroom. Meet you in next lecture. Bye bye.